Sit back and relax, and we will delve into history. This is Life in the 1900s newspapers. I am going to read you an old newspaper. We are in 1910. And we will be reading selected articles from the Seattle Post-Intelligencer from Seattle, Washington, dated Monday, April 4th, 1910. Child frightens thugs. Portland, Oregon, April 3rd. Early this afternoon, one of the boldest robberies ever committed here occurred in the residence of R.E. Gale, a merchant living in a central location. Two masked robbers entered the Gale home, bound and gagged Miss Rose Mosher, an 18-year-old servant, and calmly ransacked the house. They were frightened away by Eugene Gale, 4 years old, who had been playing in the front yard and tried to open the front door, which was locked. When the robbers heard the noise, they rushed from the house, leaving their loot on the floor. A few minutes later, Mr. Gale returned. He found the girl still tied and gagged. She fainted twice during the robbery.
It's a long walk to school on a muddy road. More fun to go by sleigh in the winter. During recess, there's time for a snowball fight. Of a climb up the old elm tree, if you've got the spunk for daring deeds like this.
Here's an interesting article about the ex-president Teddy Roosevelt. Great hunting bag. The achievements of Colonel Roosevelt and Kermit have been marvelous. They have shot close to 500 large mammals. These include 3 giant eland, 2 bongos, 9 white rhino, 1 sitatunga, 17 lions, 11 elephants, 7 cheetah, 3 sable antelope, a number of antelopes and gazelle, including greater kudu, roan antelope, eland, cribby, bowher, cobus cob, bushbuck, Sing Sing Topi, Jackson's, Hartabesti, Dick Dick, Thomasonly, and Grantee Gazelle, Newman's Hartbeest, Raidbuck, Zebra, orcs of various species, Marabout Stork, Egret, and many specimens of wildebeest and others. This is the finest collection of African mammals, birds, and reptiles that has ever been made. The naturalists that were on the trip secured specimens numbering not less than 11,000.
Old heroes are popular again. Here's Theodore Roosevelt, surrounded by crowds wherever he goes. Everything's just bully.
Courtesy proves disastrous. Vancouver, Washington, April 1st. While riding a wheel and turning out of the road on a hill to let several young women pass, Fred Edmonds of View doffed his hat and bumped into a stump yesterday. Edmonds was badly bruised and his face scratched. The wheel was wrecked. Homely dog haunts Hubler of Almira, can't lose it. Homely dog haunts Hubler of Almira, can't lose it. Almira, April 3rd. When Henry Hubler came here a few weeks ago from South Bend to accept a job of bookkeeping, a hound saw him and adopted him on sight. Mr. Hubler did not reciprocate. But that made no difference to the canine, which was on the job all the time following him wherever he went. Getting permission from Mr. Stitz, Mr. Hubler put the hound aboard the train and shipped him to Cheney, a distance of more than 100 miles, thinking he was rid of his company. A week later, Mr. Hubler was not a little surprised on going to the door one morning to find the dog, gaunt and weary, but wagging a pleasant welcome to his adoptive master. Investigation proved that he had made his way back alone from Cheney.
The one sure way to get someplace is on a train.
WardenArrests Son, San Jose, California, April 3rd. Probably the most conscientious man in Santa Clara County is aged James B. Lawyer, Deputy Game Warden, who caused the arrest of his own son, Tom Lawyer, for illegal fishing. The young man was brought to town from the mountains above Almira and deposited $50 in cash bail as security for his appearance in court when his case is to be tried. Tom pleaded not guilty when arraigned today and said that he was simply fooling his dad by dangling a line which had neither hook nor bait in the water. San Diego youngsters who eloped and were run down by posse of constables. Gertrude Selfert, 15 years old, was spirited away from San Diego by her parents a few days ago and hurried away on a trip to Europe to avoid her marriage to Tom Foreman, 17 years old. Both girl and boy declare they will marry in spite of all opposition. No big hats in my church is pastor's edict. New York, April 5th. Women parishioners of the Church of St. Mary at Bensonhurst must either eschew the current enormous varieties of spring millinery or stay away from church. Their pastor, the Reverend Charles Whiteman, in the ultimatum which he delivered to them, says, "Our church is able to seat only 275 persons. Women with big hats take up twice as much room as necessary to seat them. The hats make it difficult for men either to obtain seats or observe the service. With the big hats, 2 women have difficulty in one pew, and often it is necessary for one woman to occupy an entire seat. The small hat is the hat for church-going." These charming pattern hats are $17.50 and $20 New York models, the very cream of the season's creations. We bought them in order to copy the models in our own workrooms. They have served your purpose, and you can have your choice of these beautiful hats here today for less than they cost to land in Seattle. It is quite the chance of a season time to get the exquisite spring hat at quite a noticeable reduction, only $12.50 at the Bon Marché. Hatpins must be abolished. The origin of the hatpin is shrouded in the ribbons and straw of antiquity, but we can easily trace its development from the early Victorian period to the Merry Widow era. Within the memory of men now living it, has grown from little more than a spiked hairpin to the length and keenness of a rapier. When women discarded the modest little bonnet that tied under the chin for monumental headgear, she had to devise something to nail the hat to her head. Whatever may be its present status, the hatpin was not at first designed as a weapon, but as the one thing that could be forced through the structure of hair and hat that women builds as a cupola on her upper story. In order to go through 3 thicknesses of velvet, 6 ribbons, a twisted bundle of straw, a rat, a princess braid, and other pound of false hair, a hatpin must have strength, determination, and unyielding perseverance. As necessary is the mother of invention, so is the dreadnought hatpin, the daughter of the false hair mattress and the skyscraper hat. In Chicago, several prominent highwaymen who started to rob the women have been rudely interrupted, and more than one have been seriously wounded by a jab or a thrust. A convenience while automobiling. The Bell telephone keeps the traveler in touch with all the resources of civilization. The Bell sign becomes an old and tried friend. He can order his dinner, explain his delay, summon relief in an emergency, or say the word forgotten in the hurry of starting. He can do this from almost any point on the road because the Bell system has stretched out its lines to meet his unexpected needs. The Bell telephone not only furnishes neighborhood communication, but gives long-distance service throughout the whole system. Sunflower philosophy. Women like to attend weddings to hear the big, sweet, juicy promises the bridegrooms make. In 1910, there were lots of ladies named Ethel. Can you imagine people naming their babies Ethel today? I don't know any Ethels, and when I think of the name Ethel, I just think of this lady. One of the most popular and well-known Ethels in 1910 was Ethel Warwick. She was known in slang back then as the jammiest bits of jam.
And so I'm gonna be the busiest bumblebee, just buzzing around you constantly. Pet names are pretty, but there's no pet name half as pretty lips to me.
Ethel started out as a stage actress. By the time the 1930s rolled around, Ethel was still acting, this time in the movies. Here's a sample.
Is that dancing?
No, well, I really think to...
Oh, but you must dance.
Well, what about me and you?
How quick.
Ethel Warwick may be most known for her modeling career and of the famous painters who painted her. Take a look.
Pretty lips, I call you my pretty lips. You're sweeter than honey to me. Every kiss is full of that thing called bliss. It seems to thrill me and make me happy. And so I'm gonna be the busiest bumblebee. Just buzzing around.
John William Godward loved to paint Ethel. Here's a few more of John William Godward's paintings from the 1900s. And thank you for watching.
I call you my pretty lips. You're sweeter than honey to me. Every kiss is full of that thing called bliss. It seems to thrill me and make me happy. And so I'm gonna be the busiest bumblebee, just buzzing around you constantly. Pet names are pretty, but there's no pet name half as pretty as pretty lips.